You might have heard people say that pets tend to look like their owners. Although unless you happen to be small, furry, and have long whiskers, you may disagree with the idea as it applies to you and your cat. But what about the kind of resemblance that is more than skin deep? Is it possible for your personality to influence your cat's personality? If that's the case, does that mean that you're to blame whenever they scratch the furniture or pee outside the litter box? If your kitty could talk, would you find them on a therapist's couch, covering it in hair and talking about how all their problems can be traced to the time you didn't let them eat food off your plate? How much of your cat's nature is innate, and how much of it comes from how you raise them? In this video, we're going to tackle the question of nature versus nurture as it applies to our feline friends, looking at 4 ways in which your cat's personality can be influenced by your own. But before we dive in, why not subscribe for more videos on how to understand your kitty? Do humans influence their cats' personalities? First, the million-dollar question. Does your personality have any real influence over the personality of your cat? You might think that you and your furry friend are like chalk and cheese. You like hanging out with friends and watching informative YouTube videos about cats and going for long walks on the beach, whilst their hobbies include sleeping, snoozing, slumber, and the occasional nap. Their ideal meal is a bowl of raw meat from a can, while you'd really prefer a pizza. What could the two of you have in common? Well, science says you could be more alike than you'd think. In a study of over 3,000 people and their kitties, researchers put cat parents through personality tests to measure how they tested in terms of extroversion, openness, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and neuroticism. They then studied the behaviors of their cats. The results of this survey showed a significant correlation between the personalities of the cat parents, as judged by the tests, and the behavior of their pets. A person who came up as highly neurotic on the test, for example, was likely to have a cat who exhibited a lot of anxious behaviors. A person who was rated as being very extroverted, on the other hand, was likely to have a more confident kitty. But how exactly does a human's personality influence their cat? Here are some of the ways in which your personality and behavior can have a significant impact on your fur baby. Number 1. Fear factor. There's a reason that people who are overly nervous might get jokingly referred to as scaredy cats. In the wild, the ancestors of our pampered pets would have to contend with everything from leopards to wolves to even large birds of prey. Their skittishness is a hard-earned evolutionary advantage. You've probably had the experience of accidentally knocking a mug off the kitchen table and having your kitty react like you just threw a grenade. Or maybe you've seen those videos online of cats reacting to cucumbers like they're venomous snakes. Cats can be scared of a lot of weird stuff, but did you know that they can also pick up on your fears? Our cats see us as important members of their social group, which means that they look to us to see whether strange situations are safe or dangerous. If the human is confident and happy with what's going on, then the cat is more likely to assume that things are safe. If the human is noticeably anxious, however, and our cats are far better at picking up on our emotions than you might think, then they're more likely to be anxious in turn. An anxious human may also be perceived as a threat in their own right by a particularly vigilant kitty. This doesn't mean that your cat is necessarily scared of you or that they think you're likely to be mean to them. Cats are just naturally wary of anything that feels unpredictable or disrupts their routine, and humans who are anxious are more likely to behave in unpredictable ways. Number 2. Raising them right. If you have your cat from when they're a very young kitten, then how you raise them will have a huge influence on their future personality. A cat who has positive and friendly encounters with humans in early kittenhood will grow up to be a friendly and personable cat. A cat who doesn't have these experiences could end up never being fully confident around humans. As such, if a cat in your care has kittens, then you have a responsibility to make sure that they are properly socialized to human contact before they are 8 weeks old, to ensure that they can become good house pets when they are old enough. Adult cats are more likely to like, or at least tolerate, sights, sounds, and smells that they first experienced in kittenhood. Because of this, good breeders will usually introduce their kittens to a variety of people of different ages and appearances and recordings of common household sounds, so as to ensure that they won't be nervous about anything they're likely to encounter in their forever homes. But it also means that your kittens are likely to grow up being more familiar with, and therefore more amenable to, sounds, smells, objects, and activities that you personally like, because those are the things that you will choose to do and have around your home. If you like dogs, for example, the cat your kitten grows into will be more likely to get on with dogs as well. Number 3. Keeping fit. Is your cat a furry ball of constant energy, or are they more of a lazy lap cat? You might think that the difference is primarily down to your cat's innate personality, but your cat's activity levels are actually something you can influence. Some cats will be more playful than others, and a cat's energy levels will usually go down as they get older, much like how adult humans tend to be less energetic than little kids. But the biggest decider for how active your kitty is will likely be whether you take the time to play with them regularly or not. Even if your cat has access to toys that they can use to play by themselves, solo play isn't nearly as motivating as the prospect of getting to play with their favorite human. Something as simple as taking the time to dangle a piece of string across the floor for your kitty to chase can be the first step towards making your cat more interested in getting exercise. This will then ensure that their muscles are getting a proper workout on a regular basis, reducing their chances of developing health conditions later in life that could make it harder for them to exercise, which could then lead to them becoming overweight. Essentially, if you make the effort to get your cat up and moving, then your kitty is more likely to put in their own effort to stay active. Number 4. Copycat. You might have noticed that your cat always wants to sit on your lap when you're watching your favorite movie, or is constantly begging for scraps when you're eating your favorite food. Our furry friends are unlikely to have developed any strong artistic or culinary opinions about these things, but they're likely to favor things that you enjoy, because they associate them with you being happy. A happy human is, after all, a human who is more likely to be up for cuddles. Watching TV, for example, isn't an activity that your cat can really enjoy on their own. Not only are they unlikely to understand the plots, but they can't actually process images the way we do, so they probably don't know what they're looking at most of the time. However, they do know that the TV being on means that the human is going to be sitting down and available for cuddles for at least the next hour or so. Because of these associations, watching TV becomes an activity that your cat enjoys, purely because you enjoy it. Cats also naturally engage in a behavior called mirroring. This is when they try to mimic the behavior of people or animals in their social group in an attempt to strengthen social bonds. This is likely why your cat is always trying to grab your food at dinner time. You're eating, so they want to be eating too. Feeding them their own cat food at human mealtime can sometimes help make them feel included and distract them from begging for table scraps. For more information about the weird and wonderful world of cat behavior, why not check out this video to learn why your cat tends to be more affectionate in the early morning?